Hi everybody, I am Zach from the FoundryCast.com, here to present a special bonus episode of our podcast. Now, as you might know, when Cyrus and I get together or record episodes of the FoundryCast, we tend to talk a lot. And sometimes we talk a little bit too much, and we can't fit everything into a single episode. So what follows is a segment that we recorded for episode 17, but we had to cut for time. We wanted to release it as a bonus episode, though, because it covers a subject that's very near and dear to our hearts. That is the biggest wrestling event of the year, Wrestlemania 33. So this will be a summary of the events, our reactions to each match, and our overall feelings about the show as a whole. As always, thank you for listening to the FoundryCast, and we hope you enjoy this bonus episode. Well, Cyrus, let's change tracks a little bit tonight and get on to the ultimate thrill ride.
Oh, okay.
Brought to you by Snickers. You like what I did there? Well, let's talk WrestleMania, man.
I would be happy to.
WrestleMania just happened a few nights ago. WrestleMania 33, to be specific.
33 in Orlando, Florida.
Not to date this episode too much, but yeah, it just happened. We don't want
to date it by the year.
We watched it live. It was a lot of fun. And so, yeah, I thought we'd run through the night and kind of just give our reactions. We're late to the party. I know all of the big YouTubers that do wrestling have already done the reaction stuff because they were all at the thing, but let's talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, you know what? I actually thought about doing that night right after the show ends podcast.
Yes.
Like a super quick, just record it.
We did for Royal Rumble. Mm-hmm. You and I did, and we included it into a podcast.
Yeah, but to do it like that night.
Yeah.
But then again, if we had an audience that was more wrestling-centric.
Sure. Yeah.
But this is an important show.
I will
33 years.
I will say, if we had decided to do that, I would have died because it was such a long show.
It was the longest.
It was so long.
Well, and keep in mind, the pre-show started at like 5 o'clock.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Because you watched the whole thing, right? You watched the pre-show and everything?
Yeah.
I can't. That's an entire day of
I got home just as the pre-show was kicking off. I always restart my internet. Mm-hmm. Just because it gets dodgy.
Yeah.
And so it seems like it runs stronger if it's freshly rebooted. Yeah, the kickoff event was interesting because clearly they adapted due to fan outcry. The SmackDown Women's title
had got moved
pushed
to the pre-show, right?
down to the pre-show.
Yeah.
The fans rallied against it, and they moved it back up to the main show.
Sure.
Because women always get bumped.
Right.
But what that did was it put a vacuum on the pre-show that should have had 4 matches and took one out of the main show.
Right.
So they clearly had to extend some things and move some things, and you could feel it. The first match was the way to kick it off. Usually you want to kick off with a cruiserweight or a title match, or a tag team match.
Yeah.
So they had Neville defending the cruiserweight championship against new incomer from TNA, Austin Aries, who has yet to show us the full breadth of what he can do. However, he rocked the house. Mm-hmm. Of course, Neville retained because it's a more interesting storyline.
Sure. Yeah, he just won it at Royal Rumble, I think, didn't he?
Yeah, it was recently, becoming the king of the cruiserweights. Neville was a much better bad guy than he ever was a boring superhero-based good guy. The second match is the one that you wanted to see, but I'll tell you, didn't miss all that much.
I heard it was terrible. Yeah, Andre the Giant
Memorial Battle Royale. So let me tell you the names of everyone who was there. Okay. Previously unannounced participants included Kalisto, Sin Cara, Luke Harper, Titus O'Neil, the Vaudevillains. Okay. So when you put in a tag team, I know neither of them are going to win.
Sure.
Why do you waste my time?
Yeah.
The Ascension.
Again, tag team.
And then, it says the previous one. It doesn't have the rest of the names. But there was a ton of people in there, and you wait until you get down to like the final 5 before you care.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
They got out Big Braun Strowman early, which is the smart thing to do.
Yeah.
Have everybody gang up on the big guy and toss him out.
I know that all the smarks were thinking he was going to win because they're trying to push him really hard right now. But
they've got better storylines they could tell. They usually give it to someone who's kind of an up-and-comer, underdog-ish, that they're going to do a bigger storyline with that year. Cesaro had it. They gave it a Big Show like last year, year before.
Yeah, to set up that Shaq thing that never happened.
Yeah, and that was a last minute change. The Big Show was going to face Shaquille O'Neal, but maybe about a month before WrestleMania, he had to pull out concerning health reasons. Big Show went out and said it's due to his weight. He was calling Shaq out for being out of shape, and Big Show is in the best shape of his life, and he's pissed because this is probably going to be his last WrestleMania.
He's at the point where he can't really do much more.
He can, but it's probably time.
Yeah.
Get out on top while you're still healthy before you break your body apart.
Yeah.
I think he's gearing up for a year of badassery, and then he might retire
next year.
Maybe at next year's WrestleMania or Royal Rumble or something.
It'd be a good time.
A good way out.
It'd be a good time to give him a big match and let him go.
But the winner, and this is what annoyed me.
Yeah.
It became a Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah.
Debut to get the crowd up, and when it should have all been about Mojo Rawley, who I guess they're friends in real life and they tweet each other and they're all about being hype.
He came in to help him or something.
Yeah, and it was interesting, and Gronkowski looked actually good at getting in the ring, like he'd done it before, not like he was some stranger from the crowd. Like suspicious, but
I heard
Mojo
that the
Rawley
security tried to stop him.
We'll stop you, and then they decided to help stop him. And this big woman came out too, and she put her hands on Gronk and pushed him back down. And then all of a sudden she's like, "Well, I'm just going to let go of you."
She suddenly heard something in her ear that told her let him go.
Okay, now let him go. She's like, "All right, I'll release you," because there was no way he had got past this.
Yeah.
This woman was a grappler.
That's funny.
I don't know if she was real security or female wrestler security, but she was. I'd rather see her in the ring than Rob Gronkowski. Then finally, Dean Ambrose defended the IC title against Baron Corbin. That was kind of rushed. That's a good pairing, but they haven't built up a good story. Clearly, Baron Corbin has a big year ahead of him. They're really pushing him towards maybe a title run by the end of the next year. I have no desire to see that. I know he's talented, but he has so little personality. I
his
care
gimmick
less.
is really boring. I don't know.
His end of days move is amazing. That looks like it would hurt.
Yeah,
that's one of those that looks like a completely devastating finisher. That is an actual finisher.
I don't know. I would say I missed the whole pre-show because I was at work, but I'm bummed. I'm bummed I missed the Battle Royale because that's one of my favorite gimmick styles of matches. But also I'm bummed that so you have a gimmick match with 30-some guys in a ring together, and you ruin it with a run-in. It's already a gimmick match. You don't need a run-in. That's dumb. I'm offended, and we talked about this night of WrestleMania. I'm offended that you would put both the Cruiserweight and the Intercontinental Championship on the pre-show.
They had so many other matches.
You should never have a championship on the pre-show. You just shouldn't.
Well, when they have...
Because it diminishes the championship.
2 tag team championships, 2 women's titles, 2 top titles,
this comes down to how
title.
stupid the brand split is.
If
you want to have a brand split, have all the women on one brand and all the tag teams on the other. And that way there's one women's championship.
You just can't do that. You need women on both shows.
The women's division is too shallow as it is.
They had a problem where they did put women's BS wrestling on SmackDown because no one cared.
People care now. People care now because it's good. Put it all in one show.
But there are so many good women wrestlers that they deserve 2 and 3 matches.
I'm just saying, pick and choose. You can't have every match on a WrestleMania be a title match.
Well, and that's fine.
They're diminishing the title.
That's fine. There are times when titles are not defended. Don't defend it.
Absolutely agree.
Yeah,
especially on the pre-show.
Guess what? You haven't earned this. You haven't earned a title shot.
There's no problem with having a wrestling match on WrestleMania that's not for a strap. It's okay. I just feel like it diminishes those. But anyway,
on to the main show.
Yeah, the main show, which I arrived for just in time.
Hosted by New Day.
Lovely.
Who looked awesome.
They did a great job.
And they were wearing Final Fantasy 14 costumes.
They did a great job because they didn't take over the show. They weren't out there for 20 minutes at a time. They came out and did a little bit of silly stuff and left. Great job. They did a great job, and I love the New Day to death.
They had a very smart opening, which was AJ Styles versus Shane McMahon. Because we knew that both of these guys were going to do it all. They were going to risk everything, put it all on the line, and have a solid match. It didn't need to be there. This was sort of a last-minute battle, and clearly there were a lot of decisions that they recounted or backed off on about a month and a half before the show. You could tell all of a sudden storylines were quickly dropped and picked back up. All of a sudden AJ Styles is going after Shane McMahon because Shane McMahon wouldn't give AJ a title shot. Like, why would you go and attack the general manager instead of the person who has the title?
Right.
Why
would you challenge for the title?
Yeah, you're not going to get the title if you beat me up. If anything, I'm going to fire you.
Yeah,
it was silly.
It feels forced to have Shane McMahon there. It's the boss's son, and it's clear this match is there just because he's the boss's son. And it's not...
I got to give him credit. He did a good job. He and AJ laid in some stiff punches.
Yeah.
And you got to lay it in. You got to shine that guy up. You got to make it look real, and it looked real.
I feel like AJ would make anybody look good, but
and he did.
Shane, it was fun. It wasn't a long match, which I appreciate. It wasn't overly long. Nope. It felt the right length. I appreciate them putting it on at the start because it didn't have a huge Shane spot like most of his matches do. It was just a straight up wrestling match. It was okay. It was good. I appreciated that.
The next match was Jericho versus Kevin Owens.
The next one was disappointing, I gotta say. I was really disappointed.
I think it was fine because these two guys are still, I think, some of the best in the business right now at telling stories.
I didn't feel like there was a great story told. Up to this point,
in the match.
In the match itself.
Okay, this is one of the best stories ever told.
I wholeheartedly agree, which is why I felt disappointed in this match. I felt nothing really happened. You had two great workers who didn't... I can sit here now, and the only thing I remember from this match, 4 days on, was Jericho's scarf, which was glorious, but I don't really remember this match at all.
Well, Jericho's going to be taking some time off again, so I think they need to get the title off of him.
You kind of knew who was going to win.
And Kevin Owens has years and years and years of pain and punishment left in the tank, so I don't have much more to say on that match. I would, if you said pick two matches to watch again, that wouldn't be one of them, but if I had to watch a few, I could enjoy it. Bayley defended the Raw Women's Championship against Charlotte.
Nia Jax and Sasha Banks.
Nia Jax did great.
It was fun
for her first.
I really like her
big show.
Yeah,
she was good.
It was a really fun gimmick to see where it was the three of them teaming up against her, and
which is smart wrestling.
It was fun. I wish that she could have lasted longer, done more, because it feels like.
I think she's still a little green, though. I think she needs some more time to develop that in-ring style to connect with the fans a little bit more.
Yeah.
A win in this case would just make her over to be the big bad monster. And she needs to be a bit more developed than that.
That's true.
Because usually big bad monsters in the women's division last 6 months and they're gone. Yeah. Bayley retained the title, which, yay for you, Bayley. You got a WrestleMania win. But Charlotte was amazing. She did that backflip off the top turnbuckle.
Yeah, the spinning. Yeah, it was
fairly glorious.
Impressive. Now, Charlotte's great. I appreciate them not letting her win again, though, because, and I said this at Royal Rumble, it feels like whenever I see Charlotte on a pay-per-view, she's winning.
And I think that should be the case. It's like when Brock Lesnar is on the screen, he's killing people.
It gets a little tiresome after. With Brock Lesnar, that's believable. With her, as big and strong as she is, she's still not that much bigger and stronger.
Well, compared to Bayley and compared to...
That's true.
She's Sasha Banks, she just rules them. But Nia Jax would have been the equalizer. Yeah. So have Nia Jax get rid of Charlotte somehow... create a feud there.
You could have had the other two go out for a while and have the two of them fight for a couple minutes straight up. Would have been fun.
Overall...
it was a fun match, though. I've said this many times to you before. The women's matches are vastly more entertaining than the men's most of the time for me.
A lot of the time.
They're really fun.
Well, because they're putting on a show and they're showing us something we haven't seen before. And the women from NXT have been doing this and doing this well for a couple of years before they got called up.
Yeah.
So we think, oh, they're new. Like, no.
They know what they're doing. They've developed these stories, these characters. They're good.
And they decided, we are going to take this over from you. And anytime someone has that fighting spirit, they're usually going to succeed. Yeah. The next match, I had a feeling.
The tag team.
So I had a feeling.
The big reveal.
Because I was watching a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff.
Uh-huh.
And I knew if there was anything like, well, the last person has yet to be determined, I knew it was going to happen. Yeah. But because they went in clean, and then New Day comes out, because it was going to be Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson against Cesaro and Sheamus, Enzo and Big Cass. And Gallows and Anderson had the titles. And it looked good on them, too. Although my wife calls them Jim Dad and Danny DeVito, which I think is so unfair.
No, I had heard rumors about this major reveal before the show. Mm-hmm. And so when New Day came out, I was like, okay, yeah.
New Day comes out.
Yeah, it's happening.
And I remembered, I like to be a good host. And we had some loud guests.
Yeah.
But that's part of the fun of WrestleMania, is to enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt bad, but I had to keep telling people,
You're like,
shush.
Shut up.
Shut up.
Because you and I were sitting next to each other, and I looked at you, and I'm like,
yeah.
And I could see,
this is it.
You were like, yeah.
And this is the most excited I was the whole night. I'm leaning over.
Was the crowd. So was the crowd.
My breath is, and the crowd knows what's going to happen.
Yeah,
and they just couldn't help but be excited. Yeah. And the Hardy Boys
showed up, man.
They came out to their old music with their old logo. They still have the broken Matt Hardy, broken Jeff Hardy sort of shtick going on, which is cool because Jeff is still basically Jeff. Matt just has that shock of white in his hair that I think is crazy, but it's part of his personality. And so the fans who knew them were freaking out. But there's a lot of people who are the newer fans who like Enzo and Big Cass, or they like Cesaro and Sheamus. They didn't know what to expect. Yeah. Jeff Hardy swanton off like a 20-foot ladder.
Nuts, man. Yeah. Both of them, man.
And I saw him climbing up. I'm like, oh, no, don't do this. And I'm trying to tell everybody, like, you're about to see something very special here, people.
Yeah. And like the power, not the power bomb, like a flying DDT also, it was amazing.
Oh, yeah, the Twist of Fate.
Twist of Fate off the top of the ladder was... Yeah.
Twist of Fate off the top of the ladder, Swanton Bomb.
You know, aside, I heard a story a couple days ago on a podcast that were about the Hardys and how freaking committed they are to the illusion. So apparently, they showed up to their hotel in Orlando after WrestleMania had started. The event had started, and they got to their hotel. And as they came in, they saw some fans. They were like, They were like, yeah, we just did some events yesterday. And I forget which one matter, Jeff, like says to the fans, I'm totally bushed, man. I'm going to go to my room. And they left. And everybody in the hotel was like, oh, wow, those are really nice guys.
Yeah.
I guess they, in the car, boom, over to the stadium.
Well, that was it.
Showed up.
It is so easy for the smart marks today to know what's going to happen before it does. And to have something hidden like that is why the crowd went insane.
It was awesome.
Because it was predicted they were coming.
Yeah.
Their contract on TNA had ended.
Right.
They were going to do Ring of Honor, but it was like a part-time contract. Mm-hmm. The day before, they had done an event where there was a wrestling ring.
They'd wrestled like 3 times the previous 3 days or something ridiculous.
And so there's no way they're coming up. There's no way. Maybe on Raw the next night. Yeah. Maybe sometime soon. It's in the cards one day, but clearly they have come at an impasse with WWE. And I bet they were just sitting there backstage with a contract and briefcase. Mm-hmm. So they drive in, they write their name down, they slick their hair back, and they go right out on stage. Yeah. And it was electric. And they won, and the audience ate it up. So that was a big highlight for the night. Not just because I was fans of theirs and they're North Carolina natives, but the way it was sold and unexpected. Because that's what WrestleMania should be.
Really well told.
There should not be twists, but there should be story elements that excite you and surprise you. Yeah. What did you think of the John Cena, Nikki Bella, Miz, Maurice?
Yeah, there was a match and they got married. Yeah, moving on.
The match was okay.
It was a little squash. They
Mixed
got to do their little
tag,
spot
gender.
together.
They're never great.
Yeah.
And I feel like Nikki knew but didn't really know.
Yeah.
But John is such a consummate salesman.
So
he said that really well, and I think that it was real.
The emotion was real. Yeah, I mean, you could still tell, even if they knew that it was going to happen, it was still him proposing to her for real. It felt real.
For real,
so,
and we never thought it was going to happen.
It was a cute little moment, but man, I know you watch their reality shows and stuff.
Yeah, my wife got me into it, and it's actually a pretty fun show.
I'm sure, yeah.
Because what's great is to watch a show and see them walking around backstage, and you're seeing people back there, like you can see Sheamus just eating a burrito. And you're like, hey, is that Sheamus eating burrito?
Sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if from that aspect, it's probably more rewarding. For somebody like me, I don't have the WWE Network, I don't get to watch all that stuff. It's like, yeah, whatever.
You can watch that on E.
Oh, that's on E. That's right. I don't have cable. So. Yeah. But yeah, it was what it was.
Seth Rollins versus Triple H in a non-sanctioned match.
Another match that I was kind of disappointed in, just because I'm a big Seth Rollins mark. I love him to death. He's awesome.
He's so good.
I appreciated the story they were trying to tell in this one about the knee and the Triple H attacking the leg the whole time and him gritting through it and winning, and it was fun, but it felt rushed. I guess I know that they were fighting with time this whole show because it was so dang long and everything seemed like it ran over. So maybe it was rushed more than it was anticipated. The spot with Stephanie at the end felt weird.
I liked that. I thought that was hilarious.
It was good, but it didn't. I don't know. It just felt rushed. Everything felt like it wasn't.
There was a weird timing aspect to a lot of it.
Yeah.
And I think part of it was they're trying to capitalize on things that don't matter as much as you think they do. Seth Rollins is not an underdog, and he should never be treated as such.
Sure.
He should be treated as a person who was disgraced and who's trying to come back and earn his honor back.
And he's the best guy in the freaking roster.
He's one of the best athletes the company's ever seen.
Yeah.
So why do you have him up against Triple H, who should retire? Like, he is still good at what he does.
Yeah.
But the pacing of it's a little slow because Seth can move a ton faster than Triple H. They try to spot where it's like, I'm going to pedigree you, now I'm going to pedigree you, now I'm going to pedigree you, which is fine. And some people saw that as masterful. I saw it as clumsy.
It felt awkward.
Like
you could do that really well. It wasn't executed.
When two people try to get off their finisher, and my finisher leads into yours, and then it's like, I'm going to try to get a thing. Seth Rollins versus Randy Orton at WrestleMania 31. Seth tries to do the curb stomp, a movie he doesn't do anymore. Right. He steps on Randy Orton's neck, who boosts him up in the air. Yeah. Seth's 10 feet in the air, falls into an RKO out of nowhere. Like poetry. Yeah. The crowd is on their feet. In my living room, we're on our feet. Yeah. That is a counter with a finisher done well.
Yeah, pedigree doesn't lead into another pedigree very easily.
And then when both of them... Now that Seth is using the pedigree, it's sort of like... At first it was I'm using Triple H's move because I'm his man.
Right.
Then it became, I'm using your move better than you ever did, despite you. Yeah. When they're both using it... It's weird. It's like when you play Street Fighter and you're both Ryu.
Both Hadoukening at each other.
Both Hadouken. And they're hitting in the middle and nothing is happening.
Nothing's happening. Yeah.
That's kind of what part of it was.
Yeah, it was... It was a great... microcosm for the night as a whole, where I liked what they were trying to do, it just didn't feel like it was executed the right way.
Here's a funny thing. I just looked at the list and I'm like, wow, we still have 4 matches to go.
That's how I felt.
And that's exactly how we felt that night, because we're like,
it was like 11 o'clock. We're like, there's
10:30
matches to go.
How are we going to... Okay, that means each one's going to be a squash.
Yeah.
And the show's going to go over by a few minutes. Yeah. Little did we know it was going to run straight on till midnight.
After midnight, yeah, it was crazy long.
Bray Wyatt defends the WWE Championship against Randy Orton.
Yeah. I liked the package for this video. This match was really good, the video package.
It was a good long build-up.
I appreciated what they were trying to do. Again, like, you have a couple of characters that could do a fun match. It just didn't... I think part of it was that the weird, like, spotlight with the grubs or whatever.
It was unnecessary.
It felt like that took so much time out of the match.
So if you hadn't seen it, what they did was about 3 times in the middle of the match, Bray Wyatt's magical powers of superimposing video on the screen made it so that all of a sudden there were damage of maggots and worms or something
on the ring. It was a cool
It's supposed
effect.
to trip out Randy Orton, but Randy Orton's never been afraid of bugs.
He's also on the mat. How's he going to see what's on the mat?
Yeah,
he's
he
not
looks
looking
down.
from above like we were.
Yeah, he's just like, there's colors here. Oh, that looks kind of
Those
weird.
little pieces slowed the match down,
It
whereas
did.
it felt like it could have been more.
They're trying to
rather
develop
see
Bray
wrestling.
Wyatt as a magical character like The Undertaker.
Yeah.
And they even did that once where when Bray Wyatt defeated The Undertaker at some pay-per-view, he came back the next night and said, I ate his soul and took his power.
Yeah.
And so that's why he can teleport.
Does that work anymore in the modern WWE, though?
It does. This is modern.
I know, but I'm saying, does it actually work?
It does, because then it's kind of like when you give someone your move.
Yeah.
You become good at that move.
Yeah.
He was giving them his blessing almost to be, you're going to be the next character that's larger than life, that's mystical and unpredictable, and has a deeper legacy, some kind of lore. And The Undertaker had a lore to him that few other wrestlers have.
Yeah, I feel like his was grandfathered in, though. I don't know if you can earn that anymore.
A little bit, but it was such a different thing, this sort of Bayou, Cajun, mystical man. All the fans bought into it. They came up with the Fireflies on their own.
Yeah.
It just evolved. And so it would have been great for him to retain. Randy Orton has his 13th title.
Yikes, really?
Now, I don't think they're going to have him
He's
beat...
been around for a while, but...
He has.
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't think he deserves to get more than Ric Flair or John Cena.
Absolutely not.
But, okay, now we have him with a title. And for no good reason.
Yeah, it felt like... And that's another complaint I have about every time I see Wyatt on a pay-per-view, he's losing. Mm-hmm. And it feels, when is he going to get his just due? I know he's a heel, but come on. Let's let him have something at some point. Next up was the match of the night for a lot of people going into it.
I think so. I was excited by this.
Goldberg versus Brock
Lesnar.
Lesnar.
The Beast Incarnate.
What did you think about this match?
I have been more excited than you originally because I saw some of the squash matches before as being the grizzled veteran who've been around that Brock Lesnar took for granted. I'm going to laugh at you.
Sure.
I'm going to play games with you. And Goldberg goes in and just beats him quickly. But Brock doesn't even have a chance. Usually Brock comes in, pissed off, manhandles somebody. Instead, he's not on his game.
Yeah.
He got punked out. So now he's pissed.
Yeah.
And they kind of build it that way. And so Goldberg and Brock faced off, and it felt like they're beating on each other. Brock had the upper hand, suplex. After the second suplex, Brock gets up like he's going to go over to the corner.
Yeah.
Goldberg has a moment, stupid fast.
Like, weird. I would want to see a wide angle shot of that. Because he was off camera when he sprung up. How he got up from I
Which
get
means to me,
kayfabe, all that good stuff, but I get, like, even taking I don't care who you are, taking a suplex in any situation, you can't get up from it that fast. It was amazing.
He got up so quick, even if he no-sold. He
was hyper no-selling.
He took a bump like that, and then just got right back up.
Yeah.
But the speed at which he got up, it seemed as if Brock Lesnar, the man, not the character, had no idea it was coming that quickly.
Yeah.
And so the energy shifted.
Yeah.
And that's good. That's part of the storytelling.
Yeah.
And then Brock Lesnar, suplex.
Up to 10.
Goldberg was going for a spear. Brock Lesnar leapt
leapt over him, man.
like a grasshopper in the air.
It was good.
His even one leg kind of got caught by Goldberg's shoulder.
He's no AJ Styles, but he tried.
It was unbelievable.
Spun around F5.
So,
in retrospect, as I've had time to think about it, I loved this match. Mm-hmm. It was quick and... It told a little story within the match. Boom,
it did.
Good. It had a good ending.
And if I'm not mistaken, this was Goldberg's first official clean singles loss.
Oh.
in his WWE career.
It makes sense because he had that long streak.
But that's WCW. They tried to recreate the streak, but they kept having things go kind of cheat and not clean win. This was a clean win.
Yeah.
And so, at this point, Goldberg is out.
Yeah.
Goldberg's contract has expired. Yeah. He's probably willing to re-up if there's a storyline for him.
I mind him coming back a little bit, but...
Not yet.
I don't
Give
know
it a few more months.
Yeah,
Give me a story worth a damn.
Maybe, I don't know.
And then in the penultimate match, Alexa Bliss.
Yes, the one that we thought for sure had been cut, and I was PO'd because, again, I like the women's matches. Mm-hmm. The SmackDown Women's Championship.
This should not have been a whatever match it was. Was it like an over-the-top elimination?
It was a... Ooh, gosh. No, it was a... First
tag?
First tag, wasn't it?
Something like that. It should not have been this many women. Clearly...
Yeah, I agree with that. It should have been a 4-way, not a 6-way. Or a 3-way.
Yeah, a smaller amount, and having more people in there to tell a different kind of story is fine.
But they had to rush it so badly.
They had to rush it. The idea from the beginning, we all knew it was Naomi got hurt. Mm-hmm. She was supposed to have the title this whole time, and then defend it and still retain it at Orlando because it's Orlando and she's from there.
Yeah.
Certain cities... especially not on pay-per-views, if it's a Monday Night Raw and you're in someone's hometown, you're going to lose. Because it's free energy to give to the heel for the win.
Easy pop.
The hometown hero ain't going to win because this is one of the few times that you get free energy and no one looks bad. Because they're going to love the hometown hero anyways. Yeah. But at WrestleMania, and with the nightclub shooting that had happened a year ago? Ish? About a year. Orlando still needs that goodwill. Sure. Especially for WWE and what it does.
And it's a WrestleMania moment, which are always important. They always try and push.
And Naomi looks badass with her little glow thing now. She did great.
I liked her for various reasons. Yeah. Her gimmick is amazing. It's one of my favorite gimmicks I've seen since the New Day.
It's fun.
I love it. Looking at this lineup, honestly, you know what it should have been? It should have been Bliss defending against, say, Becky Lynch, because everybody likes Becky Lynch. It should have been them, and Naomi should have, like, the bell should have rung, lights go out, Naomi comes in glowing.
Yeah,
something like and make it the three of them with a run-in from Naomi, and she wins it that way.
It should have been something like they fake that Naomi gets suspended, or
exactly,
that she can't make it, and then it's going to be
she's hurt, she can't be.
And this match, and right before the bell rings, she comes out.
She suddenly is. New Day brings her.
New
out.
Day goes. Maybe all right.
New Day could have come out glowing with her. It would have been great.
Oh, shut up!
They would have loved that. But,
okay.
And then the other three ladies. Then the other three ladies could have had a fatal 3-way on the pre-show.
Well, and I love Alexa Bliss right now. I think she's really something special. Mickie James is a great callback, former WWE, back to TNA. She's one of those women who are super tacticians. Yeah. And she has the benefit of having been around for a while. Mm-hmm. It's just that nobody knows how to connect with her unless she pretends to be the crazy bitch.
Right.
Because that was kind of her thing before. And then Natty... No one cares. I love Natty, both as a wrestler and as a human. There's nothing left in the pocket for her right now.
Yeah,
they need to have her go off TV for at least 6 months. And same thing with Carmella. They're trying something. It's not sticking. It's not even making her a good heel. She's just boring, and that's why I was bored for most of the match.
Yeah, luckily it was short.
It
was rushed, so it ended up being short.
The women did well. Alexa did well. Yeah. Naomi did well. Main event time.
And then it got us to the main event.
I was looking so forward to this because there was something there. Something was going to happen.
Yeah.
Something was going to change.
Yeah.
And I heard my wife say, this is the night.
Uh-huh.
This is when Roman goes heel.
That's what I was expecting. Well, we'll get to it.
But that was it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think... Undertaker, is this Undertaker going to retire? We don't know. Is Undertaker going to beat Roman? Right. And then Roman's going to be angry about it? Is Roman going to win and lord it over Undertaker?
Right.
We don't know. Is someone going to come out, mess with this match, and build into the next tier of something. What's really going to happen? At the start of the match, The Undertaker continuously taunted Reigns by declaring that this is still his yard.
Well,
and that was great.
You know what? I will say, even before the match started, I knew what was about to happen because they played their hand because JR came out to call the match. As soon as JR came out, I knew what was match.
This was likely going to be...
I knew it was it.
This was likely going to be The Undertaker's final match.
Yeah.
Because he had always said, and he said in an interview...
Yeah, he had said...
JR said that he would only come back to WWE, come out of basically retirement, to call Undertaker's last match.
There had been plans several years ago to do a retirement match, and apparently Taker had said he wanted JR there to call the match. And it didn't happen, but like I said, as soon as JR came out, I was like, oh, yes. Oh, my God, this is happening. Yeah, Taker came out. He was taunting. There was some good... I've read a couple of reviews saying that they didn't think that Roman did a good job. I actually think he did a really good job telling the story in this match.
He did.
For the most part. The ending didn't feel quite right, but Taker was taunting him.
They were taunting each other because Roman, as sort of like the good guy who respected... Because at no point was he really disrespectful. It was more like, I'm the badass now.
He was pained. He was like...
He's like, stay down.
He was pained or beat him down, and he was like, I can't believe you're getting back up. Stay down. Just take your beating.
Taker said something like, you don't have the balls to
Taker
take me
said,
down.
you don't have the balls. And that was right near the end.
Undertaker took 5 spears.
Yeah.
This guy has been putting off hip replacement surgery. And took 5 spears from 300-pound Roman Reigns.
He was awesome. I mean, he looked better at the tail end of it than he did his fight with Lesnar, which I thought the man was dead.
He almost was.
He was that wrecked him. So he looked better, which I don't know. Well, okay. It's got some spears, got some good spots in.
He even got a tombstone on Roman.
Yeah, he started the one he started to, or no, he actually did
got
one.
his tombstone on Roman.
One on him. And he kicked out. But the match was like him grinding, like Roman grinding it out against Taker. You don't.
There was a blown spot where they were trying to do a reversal, where basically one of them was going to do a flip into the other and grab his legs, but both those guys are so heavy.
They were trying to pick each other up, and it just there was
they
that was the other
thing.
Twice. This WrestleMania, like almost every match had at least one obvious botch, which was weird. But and then we got to the end. And of course, Taker tries to get up and
can't.
Falls back
it's just
over
heartbreaking.
Again,
but
ding, ding, ding. That's the end. Roman walks out to Boo City as we expected.
He stops. He looks back, and at that moment, I thought he was going to run in and take that chair and start whooping on Undertaker. And get that heat.
Yeah.
But turns out he didn't need to.
No.
Just let him go. Look back. Survey the scene.
Yeah.
Let Undertaker take his time getting up. Let the crowd... Apparently they even turned the volume down on the crowd.
Yeah.
They were so loud, like, thank you, Taker.
Yeah.
He slowly took off his gloves. And this is another point where we're all tired. It's midnight.
Yeah.
But I had to tell everyone, hush.
Yeah.
This is a moment. Undertaker is retiring.
Yeah.
And it's weird. In the ring... He takes off his hat. He takes off his jacket. Yeah. That's normal. But taking off those gloves... The
gloves first, his MMA gloves.
That meant something so different.
Yeah.
He looks around. He's looking at the crowd. Sometimes he looks like he's actually a little confused because of the moment.
He also did the spot... Before he undressed, he got halfway out of the ring and stopped.
Oh, yeah.
And then he came back in again. And
oh no. Got out of the ring... Kissed his wife, former WWE wrestler Michelle McCool, and walked halfway up the ramp and looked back, threw up his arm, and then the ramp started to drop down as he went in through the smoke. Yeah. And the crowd is still going nuts, and people in the front row are crying, and it was a good goodbye to an incredible man, incredible talent.
Yeah, I'm sorry to see him go. It needed to have happened before this WrestleMania, I think. I don't feel like the match was good enough.
It was about as good as you could expect out of him at that age.
I agree. And that's, in retrospect, it's like, what more could you have expected him to do? That's what I'm saying. He should have retired 3 or 4 years ago. He should have dropped the streak to somebody important. And
it was his decision to go down to Roman. That's his call.
Yeah,
and that tells you something. And this is something that I feel that not a lot of other fans do.
Yeah,
Roman's the real deal.
He's a good wrestler, and I think he has the ability to be a good.
He was put in the wrong situation
he's done a horrible disservice by WWE, what they've done to him. But I think he's finally, because I saw on Raw Monday night.
All right, let's talk about that. So the show's over. Raw is always an amazing point of one fallout and also new beginnings.
Right.
So we had.
Was it the start of the show?
It was the opening.
The opening of the show. Yeah. It pops open and the crowd is chanting Undertaker, and just for 5 minutes they're just chanting for Undertaker, and then
it was about 3 to maybe upwards of 5 minutes.
It was a while
straight of just thank you Taker,
appreciating
thank you Taker, and it was so loud and it didn't stop.
Yeah.
And I'm watching, going, this just keeps going. Yeah. And it just keeps going. Then
Roman's music.
Roman the crowd boos like I've never heard before.
Boo, boo.
He
walks down to the ring. He's got the mic.
He's looking around. He doesn't even put the mic anywhere near his mouth.
You suck, you boo, just constant.
So they're saying delete, which is a Matt Hardy thing.
Yes.
Which they've now picked up. Delete. And they're saying, you suck.
Yeah.
They called him a hurt hole.
Yeah, right.
Roman sucks.
Yeah.
F you, Roman.
Yeah.
And it went out over the airwaves.
Kept going.
And then as soon as he puts the microphone...
Put the mic up. Boo.
And then they start saying, S the F up. Or shut the F up.
So good.
Go, and then go away.
Go away, yeah. And he does it takes the mic up a couple times. And then finally he puts it up and holds it there. And there's a little lull in the crowd. Just a little bit, and he gets one sentence in.
This is my yard now. Mic drop.
Drops the mic, gone. Perfect heel promo.
That whole promo? 15 minutes.
Yeah, it took forever. Perfect heel promo.
He didn't say a word until 14 minutes and 30 seconds in.
The question is he officially a heel now? Do you think this was his heel turn?
Well, he has always played it neutral that people don't like him.
Yeah,
which I guess is...
He's just like, I'm a badass,
he's like a baby heel or whatever it's called, where he's not playing a villain.
Yeah.
He's just playing a hated good guy.
Right.
Like they did with Kurt Angle for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of, came out, new general manager of Raw.
Had the You Suck chant, yeah.
And people, but it was the weirdest thing. Because I'm having to explain to my wife... That's love. Yeah, people are yelling because they love him, and Kurt Angle's like, yeah.
So in 20 years, we're going to see Roman sucks chants as we love Roman at the end of his career.
I think they should have just gotten rid of his stupid entrance music.
Yeah, you know what I want him to do? I want him to drop the armor.
He should have. He should just be wearing a black tank top.
He should get rid of the armor.
It's kind of part of his thing, though, that makes him.
It's part of his look.
His emblem, his look.
I think he should change
his action figure.
He needs to go to town.
He slimmed it down, though. It's not really padded anymore. It's just like a thin layer of foam, like a quarter-inch thick foam.
It feels like it's finally happened. He's turned heel. I want him to embrace it and be the arrogant jerk heel that we all want him to be and that he can be. And go up against Seth Rollins. That's going to be great.
There's a little more fallout that happened later in the show, but of other storylines. But one thing I wanted to mention that I'm very excited for is that Luke
Harper
mm-hmm. looks fantastic. Mm-hmm. This dude has dropped some LBs. I've always thought he was a premium wrestler.
He's a good wrestler. Yeah.
He's changed up his style. He's got his hair in like a partial pony in the back. Okay. So it's just pulled back a little bit.
Okay.
Wearing like black pants and a black tank top. Comes out there kicking butt during the pre-show, the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, and has been coming out for the last week and looks fantastic. he was on Raw, and then he shows up to SmackDown as well, because Eric Rowan's back as well.
Okay.
So, I didn't finish the match. I was actually watching it earlier tonight, because Bray comes out to mess with Randy Orton, and then Eric Rowan comes out to help beat up Randy Orton, and then Luke Gallows' music drops, and he's supposed to be on Raw, if I'm not mistaken, comes out to help beat up Eric Rowan. So then apparently they're going to do a tag team match that night where Luke and Randy are together defending, and I'm pretty sure I'll go ahead and ruin it for myself.
Family versus family kind of thing. I like that.
Yeah, something like that.
I'm good with that. Former family versus Wyatt family.
And here's the thing. When we get off tonight, I want you to look up Shinsuke Nakamura's debut on SmackDown.
Yeah.
It's good. I love it. He's so weird, but the audience gets it.
Yeah.
And his in-ring skill, he's the master of strong style. Don't know what that means, but it sounds good.
It means
he's
stiff.
He's stiff. He's super stiff.
Yeah, I'll check that out tonight because I'm excited to see him wrestle some.
Was it the greatest WrestleMania? No. It set some records.
So did WWE.
Was it the Ultimate Thrill Ride?
The Ultimate Thrill Ride.
No. I could say there were maybe about 5 total OMG moments.
Yeah. Yeah.
And those were usually in the middle matches by people I expected it from.
Yeah. It had some really nice spots. It could have been, even keeping the same stories they had could have been a lot better.
Here's looking forward to next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
WrestleMania 34 coming from Nolans.
When Seth Rollins wins the heavyweight championship over Roman Reigns with a run-in from Taker.
Taker with a chair. Oh my God, he's cut in half.
He's broken in half.
Anything that can get JR back on the microphone is good with me.
Really nice.
I felt like that was somewhat of a holy moment.